I just watched Genius, the Kanye West trilogy. Verdict's in. He's invited back to the cookout, but it has to be the old Kanye West.
Welcome back to Structure. I'm H. This is E.
What up,
And
what up?
today we're gonna take a look at Genius, the Kanye West trilogy. This is a documentary for Netflix. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's talk about this. Let's have a good discussion. And without further ado, let's get on Structure.
Let's go.
So Netflix dropped a new documentary trilogy that takes a look at the life and times of Kanye West.
Yes.
Trilogy. So far, we have part one out.
That's right.
And it was very interesting. You can
Extremely.
reminisce at his beginnings.
Oh, man.
Until a certain point, with some of the stuff that we remember. Being part of his rise. So far, I do believe they took a look from his beginnings when he was already a somewhat known producer in the
Chicago.
music world.
Yeah.
To the point where he was getting ready to. He just got his record deal and he's preparing his first album.
That's right.
What were your thoughts on it?
Ah, man, it was very nostalgic. It was almost romanticized. I loved it because I remember being in New Jersey. I remember when he first came onto the scene nationally. I have a few friends that love backpack rap. I only listened to some of it. They already knew of him, and they got super excited once he got signed. But once he got signed, I was following him, and like he said, in the documentary, his music was a breath of fresh air at the time. It was great. So seeing how that happened behind the scenes was really fun, and it made me believe in Kanye West again. But it's the old Kanye West, so that's a part that we have to reconcile. But I love just the Cootie who followed him around and showed us the mindset that he had. It's very inspirational.
Yeah, he has a mindset of someone that likes to work hard. You gotta pull yourself up by your bootstrap.
Yeah.
But he says that there's not gonna be enough free handouts. You gotta work for what you got. And we see how he has some issues with people that help him come up. That I guess because of jealousy, they feel some type of way they
It's
wanted to be
amazing.
put on. And that's the story of someone becomes successful in a group. Some people are gonna feel a certain way. They don't feel like they're coming along for the ride. But we see the struggles, even at that level. This is a guy that at that time had already produced half of the blueprint for JC, right?
Yes.
And he's still not taken seriously in his craft to what he really
insane.
wants to do.
It's insane. And it's amazing because time after time after time after time, he gets rejected and he keeps coming back. He keeps on trying to play his music and everything like that. But he perseveres. Eventually, he perseveres. So it's amazing to see that behind the scenes because I've been out to New York during that time, and you see if you run into a rapper or a celebrity, you see the chains, you see the luxury cars and everything like that, and people get real souped up about that. But the reality is that half of them were living like Kanye at the time, where it was like from beat to beat. I mean, he wasn't a millionaire. He was still trying to make it and still holding on to this image or whatever, and still trying to be relevant, which he is amazing that he was his own publicist. I mean, he worked in the interview with MTV, and that's what got him signed. It's amazing that he did that for himself, and it's amazing all the other things which we'll get into that he did. And what about his mother?
Yeah, I was just gonna touch on that. Their relationship with his mother, something very nice to see in there. She was his biggest fan. She was a big supporter. You don't see, at least coming people from our background, right?
Yeah.
We come from the bottom. You're normally taught, listen, you gotta go to school, you gotta get your degree, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. A lot of the times, there's not too much of a wiggle room to just follow your dreams, follow your passions.
Yeah.
And we can see, I guess, from what we can gather from their interactions from an early age. She was a big supporter of what he wanted to do.
A huge supporter. She supported everything that he did, and it was unconditional. That was the whole thing. It was unconditional support. She memorized his lines.
Yeah.
They were rhyming, and she was his hype man. Like, how crazy.
That's great.
Whose mother would be their hype man? Like,
Go
seriously.
do some homework, go to school.
Yeah, seriously. And they could sit down, have a conversation, laugh and joke. And, she invited all his friends in and stuff like that. She was clearly an amazing woman. And sadly missed. But go ahead.
And they mentioned that she bought him his first set for producing for DJing,
Uh huh.
right? And I believe she was the one who made the connection for him
Yeah,
to
for with no ID.
with no
Yeah,
ID and
she was teaching at a college, and she said, "Oh, you produce? Well, let me introduce you to my son." And at age 14, Kanye West was producing. I mean, how many kids at that age were legitimately producing beats or working with a legitimate producer to develop their skills? Not that many. I've seen it.
to have that mental drive at 14. It's
Yes.
hard for an adult person to have that, but he hustled at it, and look where he what I got him. We see the rise. That was a very special thing to watch. Was that relationship between him and his mom? Also seeing how he was seeing inside the office, the companies he was
Oh
working
my
for,
gosh.
because he's bringing his song, like, and that song when it all falls
He was
down,
just
which is a great song. I love that song. I remember that's an iconic video to me. All the lines, the rhymes that he has there. Couldn't afford a car, so she named her daughter Alexis. Like,
and they were
this
just
is-
like yawn.
and they're like, "Yo, yeah, it's cool."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, by the way, can you turn that off?" Like, come on, man.
Yeah, they
Like,
straight played him time and time again, and nobody took him seriously. It's amazing that any other person would have quit.
no, anybody else would have. I mean, at least would have left. I mean,
Yeah, would have been
he
like, forget those dudes, all that. But he would persevered.
if you
He
think
did not
about it,
give up.
that those songs, I mean, that's that particular song. That was a mega hit. I don't know if it reached number one in the Billboard.
Yeah.
but that was everywhere. I
Yes, it
love
was.
that song. I played that song so many times. Right.
Yeah.
I used to be a huge fan of his until his
And
Spiral.
we'll get into that. Yeah, we'll get
And
into that.
and we see that nobody really cared, except for the people that were essentially below him. That yeah, you're cool, man, you're nice with that, but until he kept pushing and pushing, and it did seem to me that he only got that deal, so he remained at Rockefeller making beats for them, because you could get a deal as an artist, and they can have you in
Well,
the mix
he said it on his
for a long time.
He said it on his first album. He was like, they gave me the deal because Dane figured that they, even if my album was trash, they could put all the artists on it and get it to sell, and then they'll be able to keep my music for the other artists or whatever.
Yeah.
So he was like, they were going to push it out no matter what, and they saw that once Kanye started to heat up. Then they were like, "Hey, we got to get this guy before somebody else takes him." But just seeing him go into that office and get rejected from one room to the next room, and then dismissed, and then seeing Scarface was in the studio with him, and Scarface said, "Hey, that song is hot, or that lyric is hot, but not lay a track with him." I mean, if it's hot and you're feeling it as an artist, you're gonna be like, "Yo, let me get on that. Let's do something together right now." But it just didn't, for whatever reason, it just didn't feel right for whatever reason.
Especially the
And he never
Jesus
came
Walks,
back. Yeah,
the Jesus Walks song, which I believe was the biggest song on that particular album.
dude, I've heard that played in clubs. Like, how awkward is that? But go on.
Yeah, they have people at the club,
Yeah.
calling Jesus' name, and it's insane to see someone with so much talent. I mean, even at that time, he did say, I have dreams, and beyond music, he always dreamed bigger and bigger, and he shoots for it. And look where he's at. The guy's a
Yeah,
billionaire.
and getting to the genius part, right? Because at that time, the context was hardcore rap. Like you had to have change, you had to have sold drugs and all this other stuff. Like you had to be a thug, you had to be off of the streets in order to be validated as a rapper. And nobody would buy your music unless you were validated. So for this guy who came up under professors and who wasn't a dude of the streets, like he wasn't hood by any means. He was the pink polo dude. Like he said that, right? And before Cam made it hot, I was a pink polo dude and all that stuff. And for him to say, you know what, I'm gonna come out and give this perspective of the educated educated black person, and we still have issues too. We still have common things that we have problems with. I'm going to speak on that and connect with all the people, because you have all the historically black colleges and everything like that. And even at that time, I know for a fact that it was getting old hearing the same old nonsense and blah blah blah. And he said, "I'm going to connect with those people," and it blew the hell up.
And that's what it was. Like, as I remember, you had everyone was talking about shooting and
They were.
and this and that, right? All this other crazy stuff
Yeah.
that a lot of people cannot relate to. But when this guy has songs where we're talking about, how the struggle of job, the struggle of following your
And
dreams, of your family, things like
exactly.
that, like that connected with me with a lot of other
Couldn't afford a
people.
car,
It was
so
so
he called it.
different. Now
Yeah.
you find that more common, but he's the catalyst for all that.
Yeah, and so his mindset, you see him in the studio saying, I'm doing this because X, Y, and Z, and then bang, it's a hit. You see him recording the songs that we all sing, and you see him messing up. And it's not like Jay-Z, it's not one take, but he's going in there cutting and finally getting it right. And when he makes those sound effects or he sort of laughs on it, it's making Kanye a little bit more human at this point in time of his career, early on in his career, which it's inspirational. You want to root for this guy.
You want to, but
you want to ask, hey, where is this guy? That's the biggest question. Where is this guy? Where's the Mike Myers? But George Bush doesn't care about black people. Do where's that guy at? Right? He said that, not me. So where is he at? And I don't know. I don't know what happened. Well, maybe we do a little bit because he has he said that he has a mental illness or whatever. But how much of that plays into that? A lot or a little? I know
But
plenty of
if
people
you
with
gotta
mental
look at it.
illnesses. Yeah,
He's definitely something off with him in regards to his challenges that he has mental. But he has a lot of money, a lot of power. Which
absolutely.
if you have someone that say that was a normal person that's had the same struggle, they
Hmm.
couldn't affect things at that level. He has all the money in the world, so anything he has a huge platform. So anything he says, anything he does, anything he wants to do, anything he wants to create, he can just do it.
Exactly.
And that ability with somebody that may be erratic at times, all the time,
A lot of
is
times.
able. It causes a lot of
A lot of
damage.
times. I mean,
And I'm not gonna,
so
I'm not gonna fault him for his political beliefs. Everybody's entitled to their own thing.
yeah, but
But you have to
it's beyond
realize
that.
that what you are saying, people are looking up to you, and what you are saying affects a lot of people and it hurts a lot of
Yeah,
people at
so
the same time.
it does. So I have like we talked about earlier. Is he invited to the cookout? And Kanye is a great guy, but he makes himself hard to be an ally for. Not
He's
hard to love.
becoming a
You love
parody
him.
of
Yeah,
himself. He's a parody.
exactly. It's because you see him at the Super Bowl. Like why?
Dressed like he was in the Squid Games. Like he's like
Seriously,
with a
why do
full
you have
face
to do
mask.
that? Like I don't understand. Like what's the purpose? Not why, but like what's help me understand what's the purpose?
Is the
And
attention?
but then you say this guy is great. He's a genius, and we love him, and he's for the people. Nobody's walking around like that. So I don't know. Maybe it's a celebrity thing. I don't understand it, but again, it makes him hard to love, and it makes him hard to align with. But he is a genius for sure.
Certainly. I'm looking forward to seeing the second part of this trilogy because so far we only had the first part.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely going to deal with him recording that first album, which we know he had that terrible car accident. He did that song Through the Wire,
right.
his breakout hit,
Yeah.
which was crazy, right?
Yeah.
And where with that, how far is that going to take us? Because it's going to take us probably towards the decease of his mother, which is, I think, the beginning of his spiral. After Donda passed
think so.
away, that's when we
And I
really
can
see
see
him completely had no, because I think she grounded him. She was the person that
That's
kind
it.
of
And
kept him in check.
absolutely.
And now he doesn't have that anymore.
She said that you can fly while still keeping your feet on the ground, and you see her talk about that because she knew her child and she knew what he was capable of, and sometimes maybe he gets a little bit too out there. So she said, "Keep your feet on the ground," and she definitely grounded him. And when she passed, I guess he took flight. I mean, they had such an incredible bond. It's amazing, and now you see the opposite side, Kanye without her. So I mean, that definitely played a factor in it, and we'll see on the documentary how much of a factor that is. I think. What about him going back to Chicago and being played by everybody that he was friends with or
Yeah,
looked up
it's
to?
a jealousy. I mean, because they felt like he owed them.
Yeah.
Like I taught you this, I showed you how to do that. Why aren't you putting me on? Why aren't you taking me to Rockefeller? That's how people feel inside. Like why aren't you
And
taking me to meet JC? Why aren't you just gotta put me in front of them
you
because they feel
see how
entitled to that.
yeah, you saw how hurt he was. Like he just went
He
quiet.
sucks.
He just went quiet, and he had to internalize it. But he also had to go on and perform, and he also had to go on a radio show and talk a little bit about it. And yo, real talk, he handled his business. I mean, he handled it like a professional would. He touched on it. He told the truth about it, and then he just let it go. And he even talked to the people that was talking about him. I guess they pieced it up or whatever. It came to some type of understanding, but he didn't go ham on them, which speaks to his mindset and the type of caliber person that he was at that time.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting to just see how quickly things can turn on you. I mean, we all have had times where somebody close to you has disappointed you, something you never
It's
thought that
bound
they
to
could
happen,
do.
you know, it's
Yeah,
bound to happen because everybody has their own motives, their own motivations, and it's bound to happen. The key is, you gotta keep moving forward, and that's what he did. The only thing he could do is become more and more successful.
yeah.
I mean, look at him. Anything he does, he turns into gold. I mean, so far, great documentary. Like, it brought a lot of memories back, a lot of like feelings back. Hearing that music that I love his first three, four, five albums. I completely
Absolutely,
loved.
absolutely. And
And
then it went left.
and then he went completely to a different side. I mean, he still created great music, and I think that's why a lot of people are giving a pass because of the music at his level of artistry.
Yeah.
But eventually, you do have to hold people accountable, and you have to. The only way you can really hold them accountable at that level is by I guess by no consuming their products. I mean, that's the only thing you can do.
And I mean, can you not consume their products? For me, like honestly, after watching this documentary, I went back and listened to his old albums and deeply enjoyed it. I had a hell of a time just listening to them, and it made me. It's sort of
Get
like
that workout
it's.
plan.
It was good, and sort of made me feel like listening to Mike, man. That's sort of the way that it felt. Black Mike and white Mike. So it's the before and after, and just the earlier work is something that I really can connect with. The later work, there's a few gems in there. I'm not going to
Yeah,
completely hate on it,
certainly.
but it's not something that I can completely connect with on his entire album.
Yeah,
So
certainly. I mean, it's a good documentary. I highly recommend if you're watching this video and you haven't checked it out. I highly recommend checking it out. I want to say it's a little bit over an hour long. It's really good and gives you a little more insight onto his mind and on how he moves and how he operates. So highly recommend it. We'll probably do that. We'll
we'll
keep
do
on
it.
it.
Well, yeah,
We'll do
we'll
the
do
rest
the
of the
next two. We'll do the next two. It was really good. I had a friend that said that he's not watching anything in Kanye's, not now, not never, for multiple different reasons. And hey, I feel you, man. I feel you. But we'll be here.
Let us know in the comments how you guys feel about this documentary. How you guys feel about the situation. How Kanye West from where he was in the documentary to where he is now. The contrast between those two different people.
Hey, we'll catch you on the next one. Until then, I'm E. This is H, and we are.
Unstructured.
That's right.